Hey everyone, it's Pam and I'm here with my monthly update video telling you everything that I was up to in the month of May. Starting off with podcasts as normal, there was a new episode of Media Mavens. I had my friend Sarah back on and we talked all about YouTube. Sort of being a viewer of YouTube, being a creator for YouTube. We talked about our own sort of issues with the service, things that YouTube channels do that bother us, or things that YouTube viewers do that bother us. We talked about the capitalism of it all and how to get away from ads and sponsored content and everything. And it was a really good, if slightly depressing at the end, discussion. We also talked about a bunch of other things. Riverdale, the new Netflix series Dead to Me, that new Ted Bundy movie with Zac Efron. It was a real fun discussion, so check out that podcast if that sounds interesting to you. And also, after my video about age gatekeeping in gaming, I was asked to be on the podcast of Jake James Lugo. He makes podcasts on his YouTube channel of the same name, and he just wanted to talk a little bit more about what I thought about age gatekeeping and sort of my experience of it, what I've seen others experience, and that was a good conversation as well. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Now, on to pickups. There's just a couple things from May, but there is one thing I forgot that I actually got back in April. But just to start off, I got Journey to Silius on the NES, and I'm actually planning to review this fairly soon. I've already started playing it, and it's pretty good so far. And then the other thing, to add to my Sega CD collection, I got Chuck Rock 2, Son of Chuck. Will convinced me to get this because we had one spot open on the shelf, but honestly, characters that look like babies kind of creep me out, but I'll give it a try at some point. So the thing that, I don't know how I managed to forget this last time because I was so looking forward to it, was the CRPG book, a guide to computer role-playing games, and this was put together by Matt Books, who also did the Art of Point-and-Click Adventures that I did a review on a while ago. Sadly for me, this one I had to pay for. This started out as a PDF put together by a bunch of people, and they decided to make a hardcover version of it. I believe all the profits went to charity, which is really nice. I got the collector's edition, so it has the case and then it opens up to be the book, and it's very beautiful. It just goes over the whole history of computer role-playing games. There's so many different contributors that talked about the history of the games. Where does it start? It starts out in 1975 beneath Apple Manor, and it goes all the way through like Rogue and Ultima, the Bard's Tale, and then to like the more modern CRPGs. It's really, really lovely. It's full of great art and maps and things. Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this a read at some point. I've actually been reading through the Art of Point-and-Click Adventure games sort of cover to cover because it's full of interviews. So this isn't about interviews, it's more about the history of the game and sort of what they offer to the genre. The other couple things that came with this for the collector's edition, other than the slipcover, actually, if I had done it again, I would have just got the regular version, I think. The things that came with this I don't think were worth the extra money, which I believe was £20. It came with a poster, and I'm not even sure where that is, but it's just the cover art from the cover of the book, and it comes with a dungeon map pad, which is basically just grid paper, and then some postcards with different artwork. So it's got the Elder Scrolls 2, Daggerfall, Ultima, Diablo 2, Quest for Glory, So You Want to Be a Hero, one of my favorites, and Ravenloft, Strahd's Possession, which I've actually not heard of before. But yeah, despite finding the collector's edition a little bit disappointing, I'm very happy with the quality of the book and to have a full, nice hardcover book that's in really good quality and in really good shape from Bitmap Books rather than just the PDF version. So May was a month of starting many games but finishing very few of them. One that I talked about in my last video a little bit, I think, was Heaven's Vault, which is from Inkle Studios, and it's all about archaeology and deciphering a language, and it is a beautiful game. I finished it sort of at the beginning of this month, and it's really well written. The pace is a little bit plodding, but it's not too bad. It's sort of very chill, so the pace kind of fits pretty well, and it's all about translating this language and how your use of language or your understanding of language can impact events and how other people understand things. It's really, really good. I liked the language deciphering. It was like little puzzles to solve, and I liked finding as many as I could to get a more thorough understanding of this ancient language. I did find the ending, which I think there are many of. I found my ending was a little bit abrupt. It sort of ended very quickly. I felt like maybe I missed something that I should have seen, but overall it was very good. It has beautiful music. It's got this very unique art style. Oh, I shouldn't say very unique. I learned that from West Wing. It has a unique art style that is gorgeous, and the parts that are voice acted are very well done. So if you're into those kind of very narrative heavy kind of adventure-y games, I definitely recommend Heaven's Vault. Another one that I finished was Ryse Son of Rome, which was one of the release titles on the Xbox One. It was on Game Pass, so I thought I'd finally give it a try. Honestly, what appealed to me was that I heard it was only 5 hours long, and that's sometimes all it needs to make me try out a game. Overall, it was okay. The story was fine. For some reason, everything, even though it was a short game, only 5 or 6 hours, everything seemed to take longer than it should. The cutscenes seemed longer than they should. When you were fighting, the waves of enemies kept coming for longer than they felt they should. The combat was okay for me. It was very sort of deliberate. You commit to a move, an attack, or a block, and if you choose the wrong one, that can work against you. There's a bunch of collectibles to find. What I liked is that it was very, very linear, and it sort of took you from one thing to another. So there might be just a battle with some soldiers, and then the next thing you're in a giant crossbow, and the next thing you're commanding series of archers to do things. So I like that it sort of kept changing things up like that. But overall, the game was just okay. I also started playing Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, which made a fantastic first impression. It looks wonderful, it sounds great, it recommends you play with headphones, which I did, and it's excellent, and it's also easier to play with headphones. You're playing this woman who's trying to save the soul of her dead boyfriend, and she has to basically go through hell in order to do this. It's not your typical like fire and brimstone hell, it's more like a Norse mythology type, and I really like the combat here. It is also very deliberate, but there's something about it just feels really good to like parry attacks and block attacks. And then that sound comes in where a lot of the time you'll be surrounded, and the voices in your head, will tell you like watch out behind you, so you know to like turn around and parry, and it just feels really, really good when you pull it off. It's also got some interesting puzzles involving finding rune shapes in the environment. Those can sometimes be challenging, but it is a nice way to sort of break it up so it's not completely combat focused. Yeah, overall, I'm really liking it, but for some reason, I haven't played it in a couple weeks. I'm maybe halfway through it, possibly. I just sort of got distracted with other things, but I do want to go back to it and finish it up, hopefully this month. So one of the things that distracted me from Hellblade was Fallout New Vegas. I got the urge to reinstall that and play it again. It is backward compatible, so I can play it on my Xbox One. And I don't know, I have this like weird relationship with the new Fallout games. I enjoy them, but also find them annoying at times. I know Obsidian made this one, but like the whole Bethesda series of games, the Elder Scrolls and the Fallouts, and I think there's one more, I don't remember. They're so weird and kind of buggy. The first thing I did, I got out of the new town that I started off in Fallout New Vegas, and I accidentally, in combat, meleeed someone's dog, and then the entire town got hostile in me and tried to kill me every time I went there, which is just sort of exemplifies that type of games. Like, they're so odd and buggy, and you can very easily ruin everything. I did end up going back to a previous save, but I do think that New Vegas is one of the better ones in terms of writing and story. So I have been sort of plodding away at that one. I haven't made it to the actual New Vegas area yet, but I also ended up distracted from New Vegas because I started playing a game called Graveyard Keeper. And even though I've generally been kind of anti-farming life sim type games like Stardew Valley, something about Graveyard Keeper really managed to pull my attention. You are the Graveyard Keeper in this town, and you get bodies and you have to not autopsy them, but you have to prepare them and bury them. You get all kinds of little tasks to do. You have to improve the church and improve the graveyard. You need to get access to a town you don't have access to. A merchant wants your help with one thing, and the innkeeper wants your help with something else. And there's all kinds of crafting involved in getting new recipes, and there's sort of just like a constant progression through like these little tasks that feel good when you finally complete them. I've played far too much of it over the past couple weeks. That's actually all I've been playing this past week. I just get home and I play it until it's time to go to bed. I hope that it doesn't last that much longer for that reason. Not because I don't like it, just because I want to finish it so I can move on to other games. I played a little adventure game called Haunted Island, a frog detective story. I think that's what it's called. Or a frog detective game. And it was very, very cute. It was very short, less than an hour long, but you play this frog detective and you go to an island that is apparently haunted. Someone has said they are hearing ghosts. So you need to find out what's going on by talking to everyone, trading people for items that will help you on in your quest. And it's just very cute and very funny. Every character in it is so earnest, like they lack completely a sense of irony or sarcasm, and that's actually quite refreshing and humorous. And it ends in a giant dance party, which is very well done. So if you're looking for something cute and light and short, I recommend that one as well. So I said at the beginning that I didn't finish many games, but I think actually I finished a few. Another one I played is called Photographs, which is a mobile game, and it's a puzzle game that has stories that go with it. There's stories about 5 different people that you go through, and each story has a different kind of puzzle. Like one puzzle is about moving through a course and having 2 things that sort of mirror each other in some way and needing to get both of them to the same to their destination, and one of them is like a physics base, like bouncing things off angles in order to get them where they need to go. The stories for a simple kind of fun puzzle game all get very, very dark. They start off and everything's nice, and then all of a sudden children are being murdered, and it's like, oh, this is a little bit jarring considering what the mechanics of the game are. The stories are interesting, like they kept my attention, but it was mostly about the puzzles, and they were really fun to solve, and they just like changed up the type of puzzle just fast enough to sort of keep my interest. And it was a really good game to play sort of as I commuted to and from work on the train. And the last thing, which I'm actually going to talk more about next month, is A Plague Tale: Innocence. And I just wanted to say it's fantastic. It's about a girl and her brother who are being chased by the Inquisition in the midst of this plague. And If you're at all interested, I highly recommend it. I'm not quite done. I'm about maybe 80% done the game, so I'm going to talk about it more next month when I've actually finished it, but I have to say from what I've seen so far, it has been excellent. Alright, so that's it for this update video. Leave me a comment, tell me what you've been playing or if there's any cool pickups that you've gotten recently. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.